mediation, basically it's a independent variable. Now you can see here. So there are two variables. One is independent variables and another dependent variable. Is it clear? Now the third variable, that is mediating variable. When we change in independent variable, then the change in mediating variable, and mediating variable also influence the dependent variable. And this mediating variable basically intervene between the independent and dependent variable. So mediation occurs when third mediating construct M intervene between the two other related constructs X and Y. More precisely, a change in exogenous means independent construct causes a change in mediating construct, which in turn result change in endogenous constructs. So mediation analysis offers a method to examine whether this mediating variable or not an intermediate variable partially, whether this mediating variable partially or fully control the relationship between X and Y. So mediating variable influence the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. It can control partially and it can control fully. Now here you can see the example. As age increases, systolic blood pressure increase. So there is a positive correlation between the two. As age increases, weight also increases, and when weight increases, the blood pressure also increases. So when we reduce the weight, then the BP may be less, or it can control the blood pressure. Here there are two things. One is total effect when we are not considering mediating variable. So it is the C is path coefficient. There is a relationship between X and Y. It may be positive and negative. The total effect with mediation, when we find the total effect without mediating variable, so this is our total effect. When we include mediating variable, our total effect means this is direct effect, and then this one is indirect effect. So total effect equal to, so in a mediation generally we find whether this indirect effect significant or not. If this indirect effect significant, it means there is a mediation, this mediating variable is working, and then we can check if in the presence of the mediation still X and Y the significant, then the mediation would be partially mediation. It means this mediating variable not controlling fully the X and Y. When the relationship between X and Y not significant, insignificant, it means mediating variable controlling the dependent and independent variables. Now the next is the evaluation procedure. So there are two approaches. One is we can estimate mediation through Barron and Kenny approach, and second is Zhao et al. Approach. So I have divided mediation into two lecture. The first of all, I will perform mediation through Barron and Kenny approach, and then after that I will estimate mediation through Zhao et al. So there is a small difference in the Zhao and Barron and Kenny. In a Barron and Kenny approach, Baron and Kenny, said there are two variable x and y. Is it clear? So Baron and Kenny said without mediating variable, first of all, we will check whether the direct relationship between x and y significant or not. So Baron and Kenny, according to Baron and Kenny, there first of all we should check there should be significant relationship between x and y. If there is no significant difference between x and y, we will not perform the mediation analysis. Okay. Now the assess the first of all the direct effect is not significant. It means there is no mediating effect. So first prerequisite of Baron and Kenny, then there should be significant relationship between x and y, without mediating. So first of all, we should check that relationship. Second is if direct relationship, the direct effect is significant, then we will add mediating variable. This mediating variable we will add in our study, and then we check this indirect effect. This is indirect effect, and this one is direct effect. So total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect. Then indirect effect, this indirect effect should be significant. The indirect effect should be significant. If it is not significant, it means there is no mediation. Again, no mediation. So after a direct effect checking, we should check whether indirect effect significant or not. If it is significant, then okay. If it is not significant, it means there is no mediation. The indirect effect is significant, then again what would be the mediation? If VAF value, then VAF value will decide whether no mediation, partial mediation or full mediation. VAF variance account for, VAF will decide if variance account for value greater than 80%, then there is full mediation. Full mediation, it means the total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect. So full mediation means this should be not significant, means p value of the direct effect should be not significant or should be greater than 0.05, and indirect effect p value should be 0.05. So it's a if total effect equal to direct effect not significant and indirect effect significant, then there is full mediation. It means mediating variable fully controlling the dependent and independent variable. Second is when VAF, if VAF value greater than the 20% and less than the 80%, this means there is a partial mediation. In a partial mediation, the total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect. So in a partial mediation, this is still there is a significant relationship between direct effect and indirect effect both. So it's a and the VAF, when VAF value less than 20%, it means the indirect effect not significant and p value would be greater than 0.05. So this is about the Baron and Kenny, but Zhao et al. Criticized this theory. He said we do not need to check first the direct effect. We will check only indirect effect. So I will explain the Zhao et al. Approach after this Baron and Kenny approach. Now there are three conditions. There are three conditions according to Baron and Kenny. One is full mediation. Full mediation means total effect. Total effect means this direct effect. This is our direct effect. and this one is indirect effect. If direct effect not significant, it means greater than 0.05, and indirect effect less than 0.05, it means this should be not significant and indirect effect should be significant with mediating variable. Then there is a mediating variable fully control the relationship between x and y. Second is partial mediation. The total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect. If both the uh, direct effect significant and indirect effect also significant, it means this mediating variable not fully controlling the x and y, because with the presence of this mediating variable still they are the significant relationship. So it is this mediating variable partially controlling the dependent and independent variable. That is why this is our partial mediation. Without mediator, if the direct effect not significant, there is no mediation. Or if indirect effect with mediating variable, indirect effect not significant, still there is no mediation. So evaluation procedure, how to evaluate the mediation analysis. So we will estimate 3 steps. In the first step, we will assess the significance of direct effect without mediating variable. We are not considering mediating variable. This is my full model, and this is the mediating variable. So when we perform Baron and Kenny approach, we exclude this the mediating variable and then check direct effect of both the uh, exogenous and endogenous construct. So this there are two variables. So before without the presence of mediating variable, we should check whether this direct effect significant or not. If both p value less than 0.05, then it means mediating variable can work. But if it is greater than 0.05, it means there is no mediation according to Baron and Kenny approach. But Zhao et al. Criticized this logic. Then in the second step, we will include this mediating variable, and then we will find the direct effect and indirect effect. Direct effect, this is this variable, mediating variable. So direct effect, this is direct effect, and this is our indirect effect. For the other variable, this is direct effect and this one is indirect effect. So we will estimate direct and indirect effect, and then finally we will check whether the direct effect significant or not. If direct effect is significant and indirect effect significant, then it is partial mediation. Okay. Now the third, the analysis of mediation. This is my model, corporate reputation model. In a corporate reputation model, this is the competence, our independent variable, and customer loyalty dependent variable. So first of all, we will check whether the independent and dependent variable relationship significant or not. So it should be significant. P value should be this. And the second variable, x2, then again I am checking whether this relationship significant or not. Once my both the relationship significant, then I can include this mediating variable and find the indirect effect. Okay, so this is my model. Now the first stage, without mediating variable, I am estimating direct effect, whether this competence construct significantly influencing the customer loyalty or not. Same as whether likability construct significantly uh, the influencing the customer loyalty or not. Okay, so the after that, once I found my relationship significant, then I can perform direct and indirect effect. I will check whether this direct effect or indirect effect significant or not, and the analysis of the PLS algorithm I will perform in two stages, and then calculate bootstrapping, and then finally reporting the results. So first of all, we will check the assess the significance of direct effect without mediating variable. So I'm not including mediating variable customer loyalty. I'm just checking direct effect competency with customer loyalty and likability with customer loyalty. So here, when I exclude the mediating variable, then I found the competence and customer loyalty. This is not significant because its path coefficient very low. So I will not include this relationship further. Now, likability and customer loyalty path coefficient is very high and it is significant. So I will include only this. I will not take competence and customer loyalty relationship in our model. I will not explain it. Okay, according to Baron and Kenny. Okay. So here, through bootstrapping result, we found this competence and customer loyalty. We will not include this relationship. We will take only, we will check mediation effect, only likability and customer relationship. Is it clear? So next is after this, we will include the mediating variable. Now we will check whether the relationship, direct relationship here, likability and customer loyalty, the direct relationship, this 0.344, and the likability. So there are two variables. The one is likability and other is customer loyalty. So this is direct effect. This direct effect 0.344. When we include this mediating variable customer satisfaction CUSA, then this is our specific indirect effect. This is a specific indirect effect which is 0.220. So total effect will be 0.344 plus 0.220. Now we will check whether this direct relationship significant or not. So through bootstrapping, we will check it. So through bootstrapping, we found the direct effect significant. It means the likability and the customer loyalty, this is significant, p value less than 0.05, and the mediating variable CUSA, customer loyalty, the indirect effect is still significant. So it should be significant indirect effect. It is prerequisite. So when indirect effect significant and direct effect significant, it's a partial mediation. So it's a partial mediation. It is not fully controlling the relationship between X and Y. Is it clear? Now the now the direct effect. So the total effect, this is direct effect 0.344 plus 0.220, the total effect is 0.5 this. Now how will we decide whether it is partial mediation or full mediation? So VAF will decide. So the how will we calculate the VAF? VAF equal to the direct effect upon total effect. The formula of this VAF is direct effect. And what is the direct effect? Direct effect, sorry, total, the direct effect divided by total effect. So direct effect 0.344 and this is 0.564. So ये when we इसको ये इसमें थोड़ा सा चेंज होगा, ये देख लेंगे हम इसको. तो ये जो वैल्यू है VAF वैल्यू, when we divide this, the value, it is the 39% value between the 20% and 80%. So it is partial mediation. अब अभी देखिए इसका जो है मैं एक साइटेशन में दे देता हूं कहां से ये हमने लिया है. बैरोन एंड कैनी. Now the book name is, it's a old book, a premier partial least square structural equation modeling. So the mediation, mediating, yes. You can see this picture. So I have taken all the data set and material from this book. So mediating variable B, yes, ये देखिए. Now in this case study, ये देखिए, the relationship between likability and customer loyalty is significant, while the relationship between competence and customer loyalty relationship is not significant. Hence we do not assume that latter relationship is mediated by CUSA and focus the mediation analysis on the relationship between likability and customer loyalty. तो ये जो अप्रोच है ये बैरोन एंड कैनी, बट जाओ एट ऑल strongly criticize we should not exclude this relationship, the competence and likability. ठीक. Now you can see this is the value and the path coefficient, and p value 1 is not significant because 0.248, the p value greater than 0.05, and then we calculated the VAF value. Now this is our VAF value. So the direct effect 0.344 and the VAF equal to direct effect divided by the total effect 0.220 upon 0.564. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द बिटवीन, ये जो वैल्यू है किसके बीच में है, 80 लेस देन 80% एंड ग्रेटर देन 20%. ठीक है. अब नाउ वी विल परफॉर्म इट थ्रू द स्मार्ट PLS. So new project, and my project name is mediation, and then we can create mediation, then import data file, import. This is my data file. Now I am creating the model PLS, select PLS SAM, and file name again I am giving same mediation B, Baron, and then save. So I'm creating the graph, part diagram, comp, then likability, 3 items, then customer loyalty. It is very easy to make the diagram. CUSL, then CUSA, CUSA, then quality, it has 8 items, QUAL, then the performance, PERF, then 5 items of customer corporate social responsibility, CSOR, and 3 items of attribute, sorry, attractiveness, ATTR. Okay, now I can resize, zoom this. So it is very easy. You can make your part diagram within 2-3 minutes. Then bottom, left align, top, left, left, and then connect. ओके, तो ये मेरा डायग्राम हो गया. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सेव. First of all, what will I do? In the first step, I am deleting this mediating variable and checking whether the direct relationship between the two significant or not. Okay, so directly I'm performing the bootstrapping. So bootstrapping, start calculations. Start calculation. Now the p value, outer model, the outer loading and p values, and inner model, path coefficient and p value. So here we can see there is positive. Now we can see the results. Zoom. Now there are two relationships we can see here. The one is competence and likability. Competence and likability, which is not significant because the p value, this. So here we can see the path coefficient is 0.078 and p value it is greater than 0.05. So this relationship not significant. Here the path coefficient is 0.568 and p value less than 0.05. So we will retain only likability and customer loyalty relationship, and we will not take this relationship according to Baron and Kenny. So I have given the supporting document of this. You can see here, the Baron and Kenny said the relationship between likability and customer loyalty is significant, while the competence and customer loyalty relationship is not significant. Hence, we do not assume that later relationship is mediated by CUSA and focus किसमें करेंगे? Only likability and customer loyalty. Is it clear? So, so this is our analysis without the mediating variable. Now we will include the mediating variable. Now this is mediation. Now we included this mediating variable. So the mediating variable here, we can see this customer loyalty. This is our direct effect, and this is our indirect effect. Indirect effect. Okay, and the total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect. So this should be significant. If it is significant, there is mediation. Now we will check whether the direct effect is significant or not. If it is significant, then partial mediation. If it is not significant, then full mediation. So we will check whether the direct effects or indirect effects significant or not. So I am performing the directly I am performing bootstrapping. So through bootstrapping we can check whether the direct effect or indirect effects significant or not. Yes, ये देखिए, now you can see the picture. This is our direct effect 0.344, 0.344 direct effect, and the total effect is this. वो indirect effect is, अभी indirect effect ऐसे नहीं दिखेगा. So the total effect, now the final results total effect, likability and customer loyalty. This is our total effect. Whether this total effect significant or not, this is significant. Okay, but we will check direct effect and indirect effect. The path coefficient tell us about the direct effect. So direct effect is 0.344. Whether it is significant or not, we will check through the p value, and p value is saying the less than 0.05. It means direct effect is significant. And now we check the indirect effect, specific indirect effect, likability, customer satisfaction, and the customer loyalty, and p value again it is significant. It means the direct effect and indirect effect both are significant. Now what would be the mediation? Is it full mediation or partial mediation? Please कोई अब अनम्यूट करके बताएं मुझे कि ये पार्शियल mediation होगा कि full mediation. Any participants? The total effect equal to direct effect plus indirect effect, p less than 0.05 and p less than 0.05. So can anyone tell me the direct effect and indirect effect both significant? Is it partial mediation or fully mediation? कोई मुझे बताएगा चैट बॉक्स में, या ऐसे ही बोल के बता सकता है? मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप तक? हेलो, मुझे आप सुन पा रहे हैं? फुल अच्छा, निकिता ने बोला है फुल मीडिएशन। और निकिता के अलावा और कौन? एनीबडी, कोई और है जो बताना चाहेगा कि फुल मीडिएशन है कि पार्शियल मीडिएशन? कुमार, फुल मीडिएशन। और बाकी लोग? दीक्षा, फुल मीडिएशन। फुल मीडिएशन क्यों है दीक्षा? भाई फुल मीडिएशन नहीं है, ये पार्शियल मीडिएशन है। आप भाई ये पीपीटी देखो, फिर मैं बता रहा हूं, इसका मतलब आपने पीपीटी नहीं देखी। ये क्या बताया हमने कि फुल मीडिएशन में जो होगा, फुल मीडिएशन में डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट, मीन्स पी वैल्यू ग्रेटर देन 0.05 एंड पी वैल्यू लेस देन 0.05। इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट सिग्निफिकेंट है, बट इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट देखो मीडिएशन में, फिर से मैं बता देता हूं कि अगर फुल मीडिएशन कब होगा, व्हेन मीडिएटिंग वेरिएबल एक्स और वाई की रिलेशनशिप को इनइफेक्टिव बना रहा है, नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट। तभी तो फुल्ली कंट्रोल कर रहा है ना इन दोनों को। अगर ये अभी भी सिग्निफिकेंट रहेंगे तो ये पार्शियली कंट्रोल कर रहा है। समझ में आया या नहीं, एक बार बताइए मुझे। इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक 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 है ना। देखिए इसमें क्या है कि फुल मीडिएशन कब होगा, जब उन दोनों को वो इनइफेक्टिव बना रहा है। ठीक है, अब देखिए आगे चलते हैं। नाउ दी तो ये देखिए दोनों हमारे जो है ये सिग्निफिकेंट है। इट मीन्स देर इज पार्शियल मीडिएशन। इसीलिए देखिए यहां पे हमने क्या लिखा है, नाउ यू कैन सी हियर देर इज पार्शियल मीडिएशन। वाई पार्शियल मीडिएशन? बिकॉज, और ये वीआईएफ की भी, वीएफ की वैल्यू चेक की हमने, इट इज 39% बिटवीन दी 20 एंड 80%, so it is partial mediation. Now I am taking the another case study, जो अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं आजकल नई केस स्टडी है वो, ये तो बैरोन एंड कैनी हो गया। सेकंड अप्रोच, सेकंड अप्रोच मैं दूसरी स्लाइड्स ओपन कर रहा हूं। नाउ द लेटेस्ट बुक इसमें जो दिया है, पार्शियल लीस्ट स्क्वायर्स। द सेकंड इज सेकंड कॉन्सेप्ट, जाओ एट ऑल। बताइए पीपीटी देख पा रहे हैं आप? प्लीज इन्फॉर्म मी, कैन यू सी पीपीटी?
यस सर।
ठीक है, ओके। अब देखिए, अब ये जो हम बात कर रहे हैं मीडिएशन, ये द सेकंड अप्रोच that is Zhao et al. Zhao et al. Now you can see this diagram, Zhao et al. So according to Zhao et al, you can see the indirect relationship. Indirect relationship here, there are three variable x, y, and mediating variable m. Zhao et al. Said, first of all, we should check this relationship, the path coefficient A, path coefficient B, and path coefficient C. So first of all, indirect relationship. This is our indirect effect. Indirect effect means A into B. This multiplication of this indirect effect is indirect effect A into B significant? No. If it is not significant, then we will check whether this direct effect is direct effect significant. No, direct effect not significant. It means no mediation, non-mediation. Neither direct effect nor indirect effect significant. It means there is no mediation. Yes. Is direct effect significant? Yes. Then direct only mediation, direct only non mediation. जैसे देखिए इसमें हुआ कि इफ इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट इट मींस देयर इज नो मीडिएशन. मीडिएशन विल बी व्हेन द इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट सिग्निफिकेंट. ओके, तो इन दोनों केस में मीडिएशन नहीं होगा. इफ डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट इज सिग्निफिकेंट, then there may be two situations. One is the whether this C direct effect is C significant. Yes, P value significant. Then again we will check A into B into C, A into B into C, whether it is positive value. If it is positive value, then the complementary mediation. But if A into B into C negative, then it is competitive mediation. दोनों है partial mediation ही, but sign will tell us whether complementary mediation or competitive mediation. कौन सा mediation है इसमें, ठीक है ना. And if C means direct effect, this is not significant, it means it is full mediation, and this is known as indirect only mediation. So Baron and Kenny divided mediation conditions into three parts. Now the Baron and Kenny divided into 5 parts, 5 conditions: complementary mediation, competitive mediation, indirect only mediation, direct only non-mediation, no effect non-mediation. So there are 5 conditions. So there are 5 conditions: the complementary mediation and competitive mediation. Both are partial mediation. Here in a complementary mediation, there are 3 relationship you can see here: X, Y, and M. This is our direct relationship C. This is indirect relationship A and B. Okay. If direct relationship is positive and A into B into C, A into B into C also positive, then this is known as the complementary mediation. If A into B into C negative and direct effect is positive, so it is known as competitive mediation. Indirect only mediation means full mediation. Full mediation means the direct effect not significant and indirect effect significant. तो ये है जाओ एट ऑल का डिफरेंट है इसमें बैरोन एंड कैनी अप्रोच से. नाउ वी विल evaluate the mediation analysis. In the first step we will assess the indirect effect. उसमें क्या कर रहे थे बैरोन एंड कैनी? डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट विदाउट मीडिएटिंग वेरिएबल. Here we are estimating indirect effect. If indirect effect is significant, then mediation will be either the complementary or competitive mediation, या full mediation भी हो सकता है. Then in step 2, assess the significance of direct effect, and then finally we will tell whether this relationship significant, the partial mediation or the full mediation. Here we will not use the term partial mediation, we will use the term complementary mediation and competitive mediation and direct only mediation. Now the first is, there are 5 conditions. So first of all, we will assess whether the indirect effect significant or not. Indirect effect means this indirect effect. This is our indirect effect. So complementary mediation, the direct effect significant this, and indirect effect also significant. Both direct and indirect effect significant. Then complementary mediation hoga, because direct effect and indirect effect both are significant. And multiplication of direct effect and indirect effect also positive, then there is complementary mediation. The second condition of competitive mediation, in a competitive mediation, the direct effect significant and indirect effect also significant, both are significant, but the multiplication of direct effect, this C dash and A into B, it is negative. When it is negative, then the competitive mediation, this mediation known as competitive mediation. And then the third, indirect only mediation. Indirect only mediation means this indirect effect should be significant and direct effect not significant, p value greater than 0.05. So this is known as indirect only mediation or full mediation, means this mediating variable fully controlling the relationship between dependent and independent variables. तो इसके बाद the fourth condition, direct only non-mediation, means direct effect is significant, p value, but indirect effect not significant. If indirect effect not significant, it means no mediation, but direct effect is significant. That is why we are saying direct only non-mediation. Direct effect significance, indirect effect not significant. तो ये basically no mediation में ही आएगा. There is no mediation. And the next is the fifth condition of Zhao et al. Both are not significant. Neither the direct effect significant nor the indirect effect significant. Both are not significant. It means no effect, non-mediation. ठीक है, तो ये इस तरीके से हम पहले अपनी कंडीशंस, we will check whether the significant difference direct or indirect effect में हो रहा है या नहीं. Then the second step, the direct effect, in the significant of direct effect, we will check. Second step, we will check whether direct effect significant or not. If direct effect is significant, it is complementary mediation or competitive mediation. And indirect only mediation or direct only direct effect significant, it is direct only non-mediation. और फिफ्थ है हमारा नो इफेक्ट नॉन mediation. थर्ड स्टेज में we will decide whether it is complementary mediation or competitive mediation or direct only mediation, indirect only mediation. ठीक है, तो ये हम चेक करेंगे कि mediation direct only नॉन मीडिएशन है या नो इफेक्ट नॉन मीडिएशन है या कॉम्पिटिटिव और कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री. तो ये हम इसकी केस स्टडी परफॉर्म करते हैं और वैसे ही जैसे हमें रिपोर्ट करना है, जैसे पहले हमने मीडिएशन में क्या है, तो मैं अब इसको आगे इसी केस स्टडी के थ्रू एक्सप्लेन करूंगा। तो यहां देखिए सबसे पहले हमने क्या, बूट स्ट्रैपिंग में वी विल फाइंड इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट। सो हियर बोथ द इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट significant, competence and likability both are significant. Then we will check direct effect. So direct effect between competency and customer loyalty is significant, and likability and customer loyalty not significant. तो उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करेंगे? The competence and likability very weak and statistically not significant. इसमें हम देख रहे हैं कि जो ये आप देखा पी वैल्यू, इट इज नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट, डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट, इट मींस फुल मीडिएशन। कॉम्पिटेंस एंड कस्टमर लॉयल्टी के लिए फुल मीडिएशन है, एंड जो लाइकेबिलिटी एंड कॉम्पिटेंस का वो कस्टमर लॉयल्टी पार्शियल मीडिएशन। ठीक है, तो ये मैं अब इसका केस स्टडी ले लेता हूं, और ये आप जो मेरे वीडियोस हैं वहां भी देख सकते हैं, जो मैंने ये वीडियोस हैं डॉक्टर शैलेश कौशल नाम से यूट्यूब चैनल, जब आप देखेंगे तो उसमें सारी पीपीटी भी मैंने और डेटा सारा ये अपलोड किया हुआ है, तो वहां से भी आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। ठीक है, अब देखिए मैं परफॉर्म कर रहा हूं। सो परफॉर्म के लिए कैलकुलेट, देन बूट स्ट्रैपिंग एंड स्टार्ट कैलकुलेशन। अब देखिए ये रिजल्ट्स आ गए हमारे पास। नाउ फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल चेक द direct effect of competence and customer loyalty. So direct effect, competence and customer loyalty, it is not significant. Then customer loyalty second, the likability and customer loyalty, it is significant. देखिए डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप significant, and direct relationship competence and customer loyalty not significant. We are talking about direct effect. Now we check the total indirect effect. Indirect effect, or sorry, specific indirect effect. Specific indirect effect, the competence, yes, this one, competence, customer loyalty and specific indirect effect, it is significant. Now we will check likability and customer loyalty. Likability, yes, this relationship significant. So here both the indirect effect significant, so, and then total effect we can check. Total effect significant हो या ना हो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, we will check only direct and indirect effect. So total effect, likability and customer loyalty significant, and competence and customer loyalty total effect not significant. ठीक है, तो अगर टोटल इफेक्ट सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं भी है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मीडिएशन नहीं है. इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट विल डिसाइड वेदर मीडिएशन बिटवीन दी टू वेरिएबल्स है या नहीं है, इनडायरेक्ट इफेक्ट ही डिसाइड करेगा, ये बात ध्यान रखना है हमें। तो ये हो गया हमारा इनडायरेक्ट और डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट। नाउ वी conclude that CUSA, customer loyalty, fully mediates the relationship competence and customer relationship. So CUSA मतलब customer satisfaction has indirect only mediation. Indirect only mediation means full mediation. The customer, ये जो आपका कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन फुल्ली कंट्रोलिंग द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन कॉम्पिटेंस एंड कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप, बिकॉज द डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस एंड कस्टमर लॉयल्टी नॉट सिग्निफिकेंट, इसलिए ये फुल्ली कंट्रोल कर रहा है। ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी, लाइक exert a pronounced and significant effect on CUSA customer loyalty, we therefore conclude that CUSA partially mediate the relationship between direct and indirect relationship. That is why the customer satisfaction represent complementary mediation of the relationship between likability and the customer loyalty. So you can go through this research book. So Zhao et al. You can see the Zhao et al. Approach in the latest edition है इनका. Now you can find the mediation analysis. This is yes. So Zhao et al. So first of all, we will check whether the P indirect effect significant or not. If indirect effect not significant, no mediation, no mediation. If indirect effect is significant, then there are three types of mediation: complementary, competitive, and indirect. So जाओ इसमें देखिए, ये इसका जाओ एट ऑल का एग्जांपल है. यू कैन सी दिस, देयर आर 5 कंडीशंस, वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ऑल द 5 कंडीशंस. तो और डिटेल के लिए हम जो है इस बुक को पढ़ सकते हैं, इसी का सेम एग्जांपल है. ठीक है. अब नाउ आई कम टू दी next, that is the moderation analysis. So there are two types of moderation. One is continuous moderation and another moderation, continuous and categorical moderation. दो तरीके का moderation होगा. Now you can see the continuous moderation. So in a moderation, basically interaction effect will decide whether the moderating variable is working or not. So interaction, what is interaction? अभी हम इसको समझेंगे. तो इसको हमने 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया. कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मॉडरेशन. Moderation, basically, the moderating variable, the X independent variable and Y dependent variable. Moderating variable influence the relationship between X and Y. If relationship between X and Y strong path coefficient, means the path coefficient 0.92, so moderating variable can reduce the power or the strength of this dependent and independent variable, and it can reverse the direction if there is a positive correlation between the independent and dependent variable. Then moderating variable can change the relationship x and y, माइनस इनवर्स हो सकती है. सो जैसे गैस की नोब होती है ना, जैसे हम जब गैस चलाते हैं तो गैस जो नॉब होता है उसको, उससे स्ट्रेंथ फ्लेम का कम या ज्यादा कर सकते हैं. सेम एज मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल कैन चेंज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द डिपेंडेंट एंड इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स. उनकी स्ट्रेंथ को चेंज कर सकता है एंड इट कैन रिवर्स. सो मॉडरेशन describe a situation in which the relationship between two constructs is not constant but depend on the value of third variable. थर्ड वेरिएबल के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है एंड मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल चेंजेस द स्ट्रेंथ और इवन द डायरेक्शन ऑफ अ रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन टू कंस्ट्रक्ट इन द मॉडल. तो ये जो है मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल ये काम करता है. तो देयर आर टू द वन dependent variable y2 and y1 independent and moderating variable again independent variable. So we can see the statistically we can write this equation. इसको इक्वेशन की फॉर्म में we can write this y1 m and multiplication of y1 and m. मतलब exogenous construct and moderating, this is multiplication. So this multiplication, this relationship, this is known as interaction term. So this interaction term should be significant. In a mediation, the indirect effect decide whether mediation है या नहीं. But in a moderation, the interaction term will decide whether moderating variable working or not. So ये interaction term ये decide करेगा कि significant relationship moderating variable काम कर रहा है या नहीं. So this P3 will decide whether moderating variable working or not. जैसे देखिए customer loyalty and customer satisfaction and income. We know when we do not include the income, the customer satisfaction and customer loyalty, what is the relationship? More satisfied customer, more customer loyalty, means there is a positive correlation between the two. But we see as income increases, the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty रिवर्स. जैसे जैसे इनकम बढ़ेगी आपके पास और ऑप्शन हो जाएंगे. इफ यू आर नॉट सेटिस्फाइड विद दिस वन ब्रांड देन यू कैन स्विच ओवर टू अनदर ब्रांड. सो मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल चेंज द बिहेवियर ऑफ द कस्टमर. इसके इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है. Then there are two types of moderating variable. One is continuous moderator and another is categorical moderator. Categorical means two category, male, female, rural, urban. On continuous means जो रेशियो स्केल के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं वो कंटिन्यूस स्केल होगा. A continuous variable is considered to be the moderating variable, that is the variable that affects the relationship between independent and dependent variable. जैसे यहाँ पे देखिए, now the depression and stress, job stress, there is a positive correlation. More job stress, more depression. But moderating variable influence the relationship between job stress and depression. If you have stress, job stress, and you have social support, more social support, आपके पास ज़्यादा social support, then you will be less stressed and depression will be less. If there is no social support, आपके पास social support नहीं है, तो you will be more stressed and more depressed. ठीक है. तो social support, कई आप देखेंगे कि जैसे न्यूक्लियर फैमिली में लोग रहते हैं तो सोशल सपोर्ट या फैमिली सपोर्ट नहीं है तो वो स्ट्रेस और डिप्रेशन में हो सकते हैं. और अगर फैमिली सपोर्ट या सोशल सपोर्ट है देन जॉब स्ट्रेस कम होगा और डिप्रेशन भी उस पर कम होगा। तो ये एक तरह से सोशल सपोर्ट मॉडरेटिंग द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन डिपेंडेंट एंड इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स। अब इसमें मैं करना क्या है, व्हाट हाउ टू इवेलुएट द continuous moderator, कैसे करना है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल चेक रिलायबिलिटी एंड वैलिडिटी of the reflective measurement model, because we are including the another construct, that is switching cost. So whether this switching cost variable reliable or valid or not. So first of all, when we include any construct in our existing model, then we should check the reliability and validity of that model. In the second stage, we will check interaction term, whether the interaction term is significant or not, and then we check the effect size. So first of all, we will check, because we added the switching cost construct, so we will check whether it is reliable or valid. So for reflective measurement model, we will check indicator reliability, internal consistency, convergent validity, and discriminant validity. Once we identified the model is valid and reliable, then we move to assess the interaction term of continuous variable. This is our interaction term. This is interaction term. So this interaction term should be significant. If it is significant, this interaction term coefficient significant, then we can say there is a moderating effect कि जो switching cost है वो अपना काम कर रहा है. Then the effect size f square. If interaction term effect size of 0.005, 0.01 and 0.025 as we treat as small, medium and large effect size. If it is greater than 0.025, then how to evaluate or analysis the model? This is my model, corporate social responsibility. Here I am including, यहाँ मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? I am including one construct, this construct, and construct name is switching cost, and then I will check whether this switching cost moderating the relationship between customer loyalty or not. So here I am adding the construct. This is my construct. You can see here, and it has 4 questions in a 7-point Likert scale. Now we will check whether this switching cost moderating the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. Okay, तो ये हम चेक करेंगे. ये मॉडल इस तरीके से बनाना है हमें. Then we will perform PLS algorithm and bootstrapping. Then interpretation, the reporting, the first stage. We will check whether reflective measurement model reliable or valid. Reliability and validity. We will check reliability and validity of this model. So इसमें validity और reliability के लिए जो हम पहले कर चुके हैं, सेम वैसे ही हमें करना है. अभी देखिए इसमें जो है ये हमारा इंडिकेटर रिलायबिलिटी, इंटरनल कंसिस्टेंसी जो कल किया है वैसे ही करना है. ये जो स्विचिंग कॉस्ट हमने लिया है, द आउटर लोडिंग वैल्यूज ग्रेटर देन 0.708, और ये through bootstrapping there is no issue of indicator reliability. Now we move to internal consistency, the Cronbach alpha, composite reliability and composite reliability ROSI, all values are greater than 0.7, so there is no issue of internal consistency. And then we check the convergent validity. So convergent validity of the switching cost construct 0.705, which is greater than 0.5, so there is no issue of convergent validity. Finally, we will check discriminant validity. So here discriminant validity, all the values are less than 0.85, so there is no issue of. तो ये जो कंस्ट्रक्ट हमने ऐड किया, कभी भी वी शुड कीप इन माइंड व्हेन वी आर एडिंग एनी कंस्ट्रक्ट इन आवर मॉडल, देन अगेन वी विल चेक रिलायबिलिटी एंड वैलिडिटी ऑफ दैट मॉडल. ठीक है, वो हमेशा चेक करना है. तो वो हमने देख लिया कि कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. नाउ द interaction means switching cost into customer satisfaction, and what is the value? Minus 0.07. It is path coefficient, whether this is significant or not. So switching cost, this value, p value less than 0.05, so it is significant, and through confidence interval both the value negative, so there is no issue. So it is significant. Interaction term is significant. So here interaction term will decide whether moderating variable working or not. So here this moderating variable is working. So the interaction term has negative effect, whereas the simple effect of CUSA and CUSL 0.467, when we do not, so we should see here, when the customer satisfaction and customer loyalty, when we do not include moderating variable, the relationship is very strong. But when we include the switching cost, the relationship decrease. Earlier it is very strong 0.467. But when we include, okay, earlier it is positive relationship. Now when we include this, then this relationship become negative. I told you moderating variable can change the strength of the dependent and independent variables. इसकी स्ट्रेंथ भी कम कर दिया, एंड इट कैन रिवर्स द साइन ऑफ द टू वेरिएबल्स, डिपेंडेंट एंड इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. साइन भी चेंज हो गया इसका. तो ये मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल का इम्पैक्ट है. तो मैं इसको देखिए फिर इंटरप्रिटेशन हम इस तरीके से करेंगे. The interaction term has a negative effect on CUSL, whereas the simple effect is 0.467. Jointly, these results suggest that the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty is this for an average level of switching cost. For higher level of switching cost, when you increase the switching cost, then increase the one standard deviation, then the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty decrease, क्योंकि negative sign है. कितना डिक्रीज होगा? 0.467 माइनस 0.07, 0.396 का डिक्रीज होगा. तो इस तरीके से इसको जो है हम और व्हेन वी लोअर और डिक्रीज द स्विचिंग कॉस्ट, रिलेशनशिप उनकी स्ट्रांग हो जाती है. ये देखिए, तो इसमें इसको इन्वर्स बना दिया. तो ये हमारा, ये एक मिनट, ये आपका आ गया. देखिए इफेक्ट साइज. इससे पहले ये भी हम देख सकते हैं, ये हमारा जो इंटरेक्शन टर्म, ये ब्लू लाइन द मीन वैल्यू है, एंड ग्रीन वैल्यू प्लस 1 स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, एंड रेड माइनस 1 स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. और ये देखिए यहाँ पर ये तीनों मिल रहे हैं. तो इस तरीके से फिर इसके बाद फाइनली वी विल रिपोर्ट द रिजल्ट्स ऑफ एफ स्क्वायर इफेक्ट साइज. तो द इफेक्ट साइज इज 0.014. तो इसको हम मीडियम हम कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि पहले जो कट ऑफ दिया था उन्होंने 0.001, 0.01, तो ये मीडियम इफेक्ट होगा. मीडियम एफ स्क्वायर इफेक्ट साइज ऑफ इंटरेक्शन टर्म इज मीडियम इफेक्ट. तो इस तरीके से हम अपने रिजल्ट्स को रिपोर्ट करेंगे. अब मैं इसको एक बार परफॉर्म कर देता हूँ आपके सामने. सो मैं देखिए इसको ऐड कर देता हूं. Switching cost my another variable. Switching cost SC switching cost. अभी केवल मैंने इसी को ऐड किया है, स्विचिंग कॉस्ट. ठीक है ना. तो आई वांट टू चेक रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन एंड कस्टमर लॉयल्टी. नाउ आई एम परफॉर्मिंग calculate bootstrapping, then start calculations. ये देखिए अब मेरे पास रिजल्ट आ गया. नाउ आई विल इंटरप्रेट द रिजल्ट. So I told you first of all what should we do. In the first we will check the interaction term. Interpret the interaction term, whether interaction term is significant or not. So my output, this is my output. Interaction term, this interaction term you can see it is point ये देखिए minus, you can see this interaction term